Support for Radio Friends comes from Homestead Senior Care, providing trustworthy, kind-hearted senior home care services in your loved one's home. All caregivers are thoroughly screened, extensively trained, professional, and reliable. Homestead is all about providing the highest quality home care service to fit you and your family's needs. Plus, if you would be interested in becoming a caregiver, they offer great part-time positions. Give them a call at 573-442-4333 or check it out at homestead.com. Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Thursday, November the 22nd. It is Thanksgiving Day, so we say Happy Thanksgiving Day to you. And we also want to say happy birthday to our director, Travis McMillan, who was born on this day.
Happy birthday, Travis.
Oh, there he is. He's punching himself up on the camera, waving to us.
We remember when he was just a little toddler coming in and doing this work. Right?
Actually, we do. We actually do remember when he was a little toddler doing it. He's been associated with us for a long time. But Larry Brown, good to have you here, Larry.
Good morning.
You've got a Thanksgiving story for us,
yes,
right?
I do. Yes, I do.
So what is that Thanksgiving story called?
Well, if I give away the title, I might give away the story.
All right, so let me just do the
story.
introduction then. Here's Larry Brown with a special Thanksgiving story. Larry?
Caitlin stormed into the house. She was so upset. She just came in, threw her backpack down, went right to her mother in the living room and said, "I'm not celebrating Thanksgiving." My mother says, "Well, what was this? What?" Now listen, you've always told us to be proud of our Native American heritage. And this is Native American Heritage Month, but I'm not doing Thanksgiving. I mean, just think of it. There were French Catholics and there were English Puritans, there were English Anglicans, and there were Dutch, and there were Spanish Catholics, and they all came over here and took our land, and we're supposed to be saying thanks. He says, I'm not doing this big meal. I know it's important to family to have the food and get together, but I'm just not doing Thanksgiving. Well, Caitlin's mother calmed her down and said, I understand, but I think maybe you need to go talk to your grandmother. She's in the kitchen. So Caitlin went in. She was still kind of in a huff, and I'm not doing Thanksgiving. And her grandmother said, "Sit down, Caitlin. I overheard what you just said, and I'm beginning to think about preparing the meal when all our family and friends will be over. And let me tell you a bit about what I'm doing." She said, I'm getting ready to prepare the turkey. And the turkey was food to our people for thousands of years, all across the Western Hemisphere. And probably it was domesticated even thousands of years ago by some of the folks down in Central America. And I have turkey remembering that was such an important food to our people. And the three sisters, and Caitlin says, the three sisters. Well, the three sisters, corn or maize, and beans and winter squash. Our people grew those three foods in combination for thousands of years. And the corn, well, we invented corn, about 8,000 years ago down in what is today Oaxaca, Mexico. And the corn plant would grow up, and the pole beans would grow on the corn plant and be supported, and the beans would put nitrogen back into the soil for the corn, and then we'd plant winter squash around them, and the leaves would protect the moisture and keep away weeds. And those three plants would produce so much. One person could cultivate in a few hours and feed hundreds. And that's why I stuff the turkey with cornmeal stuffing. And I have corn also, and I love to fix corn with the little green and red peppers in it, because peppers were so important to our people too. They all started in the Western Hemisphere, and that's how I like to fix corn. And of course, one of my favorites, lima beans, the pole limas, and I like to fix them. And when I remember that, I remember their share of the three sisters. And of course, winter squash. Well, pumpkin, that's my favorite of the winter squash. And when we make the pumpkin pie, I'm remembering our native heritage. And even when I put the spices in, particularly allspice, because that came from the Caribbean too, and our people. We put some other spices in, but they were indigenous people of other places. And we loved the pumpkin pie. And well, the beans too. I always liked the bean casserole, green bean casserole. because I like to put wild rice in it, and of course that came from our people around the Great Lakes, and the mushrooms, and our people harvested mushrooms and made use of all those. So when I fix the green bean casserole, I think of our people, and of course potatoes. What would Thanksgiving meal be without mashed potatoes? They call them Irish or Idaho potatoes, but you know where they came from, and Caitlin's nodding, says, of course, they came from the people of the Andes Mountains, where they grew hundreds of varieties of potatoes for every season and change in temperature and moisture and even sweet potatoes. They came from the Caribbean and Central America as well, and that's why we have both kinds of potatoes every time at the meal. And Grandma went on, and Caitlin is beginning to calm down. And she said, when we fixed the three sisters, the corn and the beans and the squash, they gave us all of the essential nutrition we needed, the complex carbohydrates and the fatty acids and all 8 amino acids tucked into that. So, when our food, we fixed it, we had such an abundance and a good life. And, well, can't forget cranberries, or as our people called them, bear berries. And when we fix that Thanksgiving meal, I'm remembering the Narragansett and the Wampanoag and the Algonquin-speaking peoples and the Powhatan Confederacy and the Cherokee and the Nahuatl-speaking people of Mexico and down to the Maya and the Inca and the people before the Inca. Says our indigenous culture has supplied so much food and nutrition for the whole world. And when I sit down at the Thanksgiving meal, that's what I'm remembering. I'm giving thanks for all our people. And by this time, Caitlin has calmed down and is looking at Grandma and saying, thanks, Grandma. I think I'll share in the Thanksgiving meal this year, too, and give thanks. And Grandma says, it's like all of our ancestors have gathered with us. It's not just our family, but we're all giving thanks together. And Caitlin said, I think I'll do Thanksgiving with everyone. And I call that story The Feast.
Oh, that's good. That's good, Larry. And I was sitting there listening to your story, and I was learning some things I did not realize about the beans growing.
Oh, the three sisters. Oh, yes, yes. Oh, that was for probably thousands of years, because each of those things were domesticated and grown together, harvested together. In Central America, they would sometimes mound up the soil, plant all those things together. And indeed, what I said about how few hours could feed so many and how the nutrition was complete.
Yes, and the thing is, then people cared about the land and took care of the land and the earth.
And they were one, people in the land together.
Yes, that's so true. That was a beautiful Thanksgiving story. I appreciate you taking time out to come and share it with us today. If you want to hear more of Larry Brown's stories or songs, they're available.
Contact me at brownstory@hotmail.com.
brownstory@hotmail.com. And you can also go to the website and order your...
So that's still available. I can make things for people.
All right. Thank you, Larry. It's a pleasure having you here. Hope we have a good Thanksgiving day. Something you would like to hear or see, I would love to hear from you. Simply drop me an email, pepperp@missouri.edu, and I hope you're spending today with your loved one. Be nice to each other. Bye-bye.